All right, guys, welcome back. We're back with Becca. What's up, girl? How are you?
Hi.
We were just talking about the nor'easter that we have. We have some rain here. We've got some wind here. So hopefully our internet will be okay, will last for us long enough to be able to have this awesome conversation. So I just appreciate you coming on and being here. I started talking with Matt, and we wanted to get some people on here to talk about Primal and really promote the product because I've been doing it for 6 weeks and I really believe in it, and I really didn't think I was going to because I've been dealing with issues for so long. And, when I was like, hey, who else is in your world that never shuts up about Primal, is a Primal junkie, we'll talk mobility with everybody and anybody, he was the first name that he sent my way. So very honored to have you here to talk about you and talk about your journey.
Yeah, happy to be here. Totally
Well, I
new
want
for
to go
me,
back.
so
I want to go
go back.
back. I want to go back to where it all started. Did you have fitness in your life before? Were you a CrossFitter before? Like, what was your life before you found Primal, and why did you really lean into the Primal system?
Okay, so to answer the first part of that question, my family, like growing up, we were musicians, so I don't actually have an athletic background. Um, I was in music through college. I majored in music, and I didn't really find fitness until I graduated and realized maybe I should do something about being healthy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I spent most of my 20s, unfortunately, trapped in, as many women were, like that diet culture mindset. Didn't really find weightlifting until my 30s, and I started CrossFit at 34
Okay.
in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So found CrossFit in my mid 30s, fell in love with it, and the immediate FOMO hit of like, oh my gosh, why haven't I done this, over a decade ago? But here we are.
Oh, girl, you're not
So
alone. I think we all feel that because we didn't find it until 2017 or 2016. So we found it late, but then once we got into it, we like dove into it, drank the Kool-Aid, was completely obsessed, and felt the same way. Like, because I have a fitness background, I come from a dancing background and sports and stuff like that, and my wife does too. But there's nothing like CrossFit. There's absolutely nothing like CrossFit. And you had said that you were involved in all of those diet culture kind of things. Can you kind of explain a little bit more of like how you found it and what kind of pressure it felt like as a woman to follow these diet cultures?
how I found CrossFit, or how I found, like,
No, how
what do you
you
mean?
found like um you said you were dealing with the diet culture of
Oh yeah, just, graduating from college, wanting to do something about my life. And let's just say the early 2000s were not really great for body image in general. So fighting all of that, and spending, not that I was like cutting calories all the time. I was actually eating way more because I ended up gaining like 30 pounds from graduating college. But just the cardio bunny, be the
yes.
runner, be on the elliptical, like
Yep.
use the 5 pound dumbbells, the 8 pound dumbbells. I was following these workout DVDs that I actually really enjoyed at the time, but I think the heaviest dumbbell we picked up was like 10 pounds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because we
like,
feel like that you lift up any kind of weight, any higher than 8 to 10 pounds, if you even get it up to 10 pounds, and you're gonna get bulky and you're gonna get too big.
yes,
You're gonna look like a man. And it's like it's not, it really, it really doesn't show us that women can be strong. It really is like we have to follow and we have to look a certain way. There was the culture for so long of like women had to be this big, no booties, no muscles, no arms, no abs. We had to be this big to feel like we were ever going to be seen as women, you
pretty.
know? Yeah, and pretty. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's ironic that all those years I spent trying to be smaller, I actually just kept getting bigger in the ways that I didn't want to be getting bigger.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah, and then in my early 30s, I was like, I need to do something about this. I need to change the trajectory of where I'm going, or it's just going to keep going the way that it is. And I fell for a Facebook ad for a pair of leggings. So shout out to CVG. I
Yes.
love CVG leggings. I
Yes.
bought this pair of leggings. I fell in love with them. They were like the smoothest, buttery smooth leggings I've ever put on, and they're squat proof. So that was great.
Which we need.
Um, and I started following the girls that own that company. It's two sisters. Started following them on Instagram and some of the other workers there. And I'm like, these girls are like crazy fit. Like, what are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I discovered, for me, like CrossFit and that style of training. They actually had an ebook on their website that I purchased that was, it's not watered down CrossFit, but I'd say it's more accessible to people who might not necessarily have like a full home gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing that, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is some of the hardest stuff I've ever done, but it's also inspiring and motivating, and I love it. And I want to use a barbell. So I went to my husband and I was like, I want to go to this gym. It's really expensive, but I promise if you let me lift, I will carry you across the football field someday and be super strong.
Right. Listen, you would have won me over. So that would have been like, okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. And he just put his full support in me, and he watched my growth over the course of a year. And then he actually joined himself. So he kind of followed my path. And
Well,
now he
walking
does a
in.
little bit of like hypertrophy and stuff too. He does a mix of things, but
Oh, that's
that's where
cool.
we are.
That's really cool. How terrifying was it for you to walk into a CrossFit gym?
Ah, I was pretty nervous. Mostly because I'm also an introvert. So putting me in a space with a bunch of people I don't know is already one thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then asking me to do this thing that I've never done before was a bit nerve wracking, but there was also something immediately empowering about picking up that barbell that I was like, yes, this is for me, 100%. So
Yeah.
that kind of took away a lot of my fears. And the people, I joined their Facebook group before, like, they had an onboarding program at this gym. So I had to take like 6 classes first before I could actually join the full group.
Mm-hmm.
But I had put in a note in the Facebook group. I was like, I'm kind of nervous. It's my first class. I don't know what to expect. I've never done this before. I have no athletic background. And everybody was just like, you're going to love it. You're going to do great. We're all just doing our best. So
Mm. That's the best. That's the best. Do you feel like it was really beneficial? Excuse me, really beneficial to have that onboarding process because not every gym has that. There's a lot of gyms, and the gym that I work for, we didn't have an onboarding process. It literally was like you walk in the first day and you're getting thrown into a gym. And a lot of my position as a coach was I know it looks intimidating. It looks very scary because you have people doing pull-ups and lifting heavy weights and doing pistols and going upside down and all of this type of stuff. But we all started somewhere and we're all at different parts of our journey. Like I have some people that have done CrossFit for 10 years, 7 years, 2 weeks, 2 days. Like we all started the same way. So for you, do you think that that onboarding process was very beneficial for you to get into that CrossFit gym?
I think at the time, probably, being thrown in and trying to learn like the clean and the snatch and the
Mhm.
jerk without having
Mhm.
ever done anything like that before
Yeah.
was a little overwhelming. And, as Coach Matt also knows, like when my brain can't decode something or figure it out, it's very frustrating. But I think that was my old gym. I'm at a different CrossFit gym now, and I think the way they run their classes is a little bit different. The new gym does not have an onboarding program,
Mhm.
but they are very good at coaching and teaching the basics of what we're doing for each move that day in class all the time, every day. So it's not like you take this one class and boom, now you know what you're doing. It's we're constantly being coached and educated every time we're there. So I think in that environment, I don't know if I would have needed it, but I was 3
Mm.
years into CrossFit at that point, so I
You were a
was
pro.
kind of
You were
okay,
a
yeah.
pro by then. Yeah. What's up, Steve? Introvert gang. Now the gym is somewhere I can be the most extroverted self. Yeah. I feel like we
So true.
all feel that way. But it's funny for me that you say you're an introvert because as a teacher, you can't really be, but I guess tiny humans are way different than your peers. So I can understand the difference between getting up in front of your tiny humans versus walking into a classroom of your peers and looking around at all of the craziness that they're doing and feeling intimidated.
Yeah, yeah, tiny humans are very different from adults. Speaking in front of adults is much scarier, I don't know why, but
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe because with the little people, I can be my weirdo self as well, and they eat it right up, like, they love my weird personality. Most adults would look at me like, "What is wrong with that chick?"
But
So
then you find your people and everybody understands and loves you for who you are. Coach Matt,
Ye
here he is. The gym is where
hey.
introverts become extroverts for 1 hour per day. Then we go recharge for the other 23. Isn't that the truest
Yes.
statement ever? Ever. I feel that way too. It's funny, doing this podcast and putting myself on the internet and meeting so many cool people. And it's like, I love you guys and I get to see you guys here. But if I want to put my phone down, I could put my phone down, and then recharge and get ready for the next time that we all hang out. But being in the public, as a coach, going out and being in the public and having to socialize with people, you come home and then it's like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Like, I'm so tired. I don't want to talk to anybody. It's not
Yeah.
personal. I just don't want to talk to anybody else.
There's a reason I go to CrossFit before work, and it's because by the time I'm done teaching, my brain is just there's nothing left.
You got
So,
nothing. You got
nothing.
absolutely.
You want me to lift that heavy weight? I can barely say a sentence.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I love hearing stories of women finding strength training. I just do. Because I also was like that too. When I first got into the gym, I was like, I want to get really strong and I want to lift really heavy weights. And, at my prime, when I was lifting heavy, I wasn't lifting heavy properly. I wasn't
Yeah.
lifting heavy correctly. I was getting very greedy and wanting to hit numbers. The first time I cleaned 155, I was like, I need to always be able to clean 155, And so that is where I was susceptible to my injury. And so I hurt my back and I hurt my hip really bad. And then it's just gotten worse and worse and worse with time and then loving CrossFit, getting into CrossFit and stuff like that for me. So when in your CrossFit journey did you find Primal and why did you need Primal at the time that you found it?
I had gone on a podcast with Matt earlier this year on their podcast, and I actually looked it up. I joined on March 1st.
Did
Literally, his
you?
email came through on March 1st. It
Uh-huh.
was right about the time of the CrossFit Open. And I also have an SI joint / hip issue that I incurred many years ago, early on in CrossFit, that I've been trying to manage since I graduated from PT. And every now and then things just kept creeping up.
Mhm.
And it just got to this point where I still see my PT regularly. I'm seeing him now for a shoulder issue, but he would see me quarterly for check-ins just to make sure, like, we're good. I don't need to see you right now. But it had gotten to a point where, like, laying on my side in bed felt like I was foam rolling my IT band. Like,
Mhm.
what the heck? Like, this
Yep.
is bizarre. So, and like you, and I feel like most people that end up in Primal, it was like, okay, this is the last resort. I have no hope that it's going to work, but we're going
Thank
to try
you.
it.
Okay, so you were as honest with Matt as I was too, because that's
Yeah.
exactly what I said to Matt. I said, Rolo said this shit works. I trust him, but I don't really believe him. But I'm here anyways because it's my last hope. And that's exactly what I said to Matt. So I love that. I love
I was like,
that.
I'm gonna buy 3 months because I know that this stuff takes time. My SI joint took almost a year to rehab. So I'm like, 3 months seems like good enough time to see if it actually makes a difference.
Mhm.
And I noticed a positive improvement in days. Days. Like, I was hitting those open workouts like pain free, at least at the time. And I was like, oh my God, what is this magic juju?
Yes. Yes. It is very eye-opening what Primal does.
Yeah.
And when you are living in pain for so long, which it sounds like you were, how long before so when did you get hurt and when did you finally bite the bullet and join Primal?
I want to say my injury 2021, 2022, and then I rehabbed that. It took so long. SI joint is this slippery little bugger.
Mhm.
Um, and then I was feeling so good when I graduated PT. And I admit I've been trying to chase that feeling for the last like 3 years, but
Mhm.
here we are. So 2022 ish, I think, is about when I finished, joined my new gym, and then was there for a couple years. So, and joined Primal this year of 25.
Yeah.
So, like 3 years of like on and off trying to figure out, I don't want to say bare minimum because that's not the impression that I'm trying to give, but maybe minimum effective dose to maintain what my PT and I had achieved without doing like 4 hours of PT every week on top of every hour that I'm at the gym, on top of work, on top of I'm married, friends. Like
Yeah.
I can't just
Life? You
keep
mean life?
doing all of
Yeah.
this PT all the time. I don't
Yeah.
have time.
Yes.
I'm
And
not
it's
a
not
professional athlete.
well, and it's also not just not affordable time-wise, but it's not affordable money-wise for a lot of people too, and the access and whatever. I mean, it sounds like that you had a pretty cool PT that was able to help and support you, but not everybody has that. So when you look at something like Primal that's so available, like it's so available time-wise, financially wise, coaching wise,
Oh
like
yeah.
it's amazing to me that PT and other rehabs are not as available for people the way that something like Primal is. And it's really cool that Matt took his own journey to create it and say very much the same thing. Like if PT is working, something is missing, because again, not everybody has access to that PT. So when you first reached out to Matt and you had that very honest conversation of, listen, I'm here. I don't really have too much hope, but I'm dealing with this. And it might have been, I know you don't really want to use the words bare minimum, but like it might have been at that time where it was like, I just want to be able to lay on my side and not feel like my IT band is gonna snap, or I want to be able to get up off the couch or out of bed and not feel like I have a sharp pain or I have this or I have that. So you were looking for something, and it might have been a bare minimum kind of thing of this idea of you could get rid of some of your pain, but I never believed that I would ever be pain free. Did you ever have that feeling when you first started working with Primal and then being so surprised a couple days later or a week later, whenever you first had that, oh, wow, I'm not in as much pain as I've been in?
Yeah, I mean, I had my doubts. My PT is great. He's a power lifter, so he totally understands everything I do in the gym.
Mhm.
But just trying to maintain those results that I had and be pain free, I was starting to wonder if that was even possible. It's just interesting to see how if I wasn't paying so much specific attention to certain things, my body just kind of went back to the position it was in before. And I was like, oh, come on, like this is
Mhm.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I joined Primal and I'm like, okay, maybe this will help. Maybe it'll at least help. It might not get rid of all of my pain, but maybe it'll at least help. And doing some of the internal, he and I talked on Instagram and in the app, like some hip internal rotation stuff and just getting some glute activators going. I was finally able to squat without like pinching pain in my hips for the first time in a while. So that
Mhm.
was exciting. And knowing I could at least get warmed up and feel good without having to go through this, as he has said it on some other podcasts, this ritual. Like I have to do all of these things in order to be able to squat. Like I don't
Mhm.
need an hour long warm up for an hour long class at CrossFit. It's just that just seems silly.
Yeah.
So being able to get results with at most, if I'm putzing around, like a 20-minute session with Primal, if I'm just not paying attention to the clock, maybe 10 minutes if I'm being quick. But it's so, I don't know if intense is the word. Intentional is the word that I'm looking for. It's very intentional in what it does and the adaptations it's trying to drive home. And just seeing those results so quickly has been very encouraging. I still have some nerve pain here or there, but it's the amount that has been coming back and the intensity of it both have gone down significantly. So I know I'm on the right track, and I'm pretty sure give me another 7 months. I'm like next year, I'm going to be feeling pretty great. That's my prediction.
Yeah, absolutely. Vindicate. 7 days into Primal Mobility. I'm loving it so
I got
far.
I got your shirt on, bro.
Hell yeah. I know, I can't wait. I can't wait to get some of my Primal gear. Matt, hey, I'm happy just to earn your trust over time. I mean, that's really what it is, that I have felt since joining Primal is that it was immediate. There was
Yeah.
there was that coach athlete relationship immediately having conversations, "Give me your history. Where did this come from?" And telling him that I've been dealing with back and hip pain for over 10 years. Him being like, "Holy shit." And I told him straight out. I'm like, "This is not gonna work, but I'm here. Um, so let's get to work," pretty much. And, I experienced my first day of decreased pain within, I think it was a month. I think it was 4 weeks. And I had that first day and I woke up and I was like, "What is this?" This feels so weird because I'm so used to waking up in pain, and then throughout the day, the adrenaline starts going and the blood starts flowing and you get to the gym and everybody's there. So you just feel so fucking good by the time you get to the gym and you just push yourself farther than you're supposed to and you're putting on weight more than you're supposed to. And then afterwards, you can't even walk. Like, I mean, for me, I would get home and I can't walk. And then there were days that I'm sitting on my couch, hooked up to a heating pad for days because I was in
Yeah.
so much pain, and so experiencing this for 6 weeks now that I've been doing this, I'm starting to see progress, but I still run into those days where my hip hurts and my back hurts. And it's not linear, but so many times we do as athletes, we get to that roadblock and then we throw our hands up and we're like, nothing is going to work. It's just not going to go. It's not going to work. So for you, every time that you get to that roadblock of like, fuck, my hip is bothering me or shit, my IT band is like, how are you able to continue to push through and trust the process, even on those really challenging days?
Honestly, I think having had to work with my PT for almost a year kind of really helped set my mindset for trying to deal with that by myself. I mean, that was a long time. I was there 3 days a week uh, for an hour each, just doing these exercises over and over and over again until my body was like, "We're okay. This is fine. Everything's fine. We're good."
Mhm.
Um, and he had to talk me down some days. I'm like, "I'm never gonna be able to squat all the way again." He's like, "Yes, you will. Yes, you will. You just need to
Mhm.
trust the process." So he had already trained me mentally through that. And then just, I think the combination of seeing such quick results with Primal and having that history personally, I'm like, okay, I know that this is a mind game right now. You're going to
Mhm.
be fine. Just trust the process because it's worked for you before and this is proving to work for you right now. So give it time. I think so often we just want our injuries or whatever mechanical error is going on in the body to fix itself overnight. We're very impatient, but it takes time. And Matt coaches a lot about training your central nervous system to learn to trust your body again, to know that certain spaces are okay. That takes time. I was just telling someone else who just had surgery that she's coming out of it, that she's seeing a lot of anxiety with some of the things she's trying to get back into. And I'm like, yeah, your nervous system is like not okay right now, and it will be, but it's going to take time, and you got to trust that. So that's yeah.
For me, it was very interesting to learn the nervous system muscle connection. And I think that that has been the coolest part of diving into this process is certain things I'm like, "Oh, this feels fine." And then the next day like my legs are shot, my nerves are shot,
Yeah.
And for me, I don't know if it's so much now with just being in this process and talking with Matt about every single piece of this process. I'm like, I don't know if it's really muscle soreness anymore. I think it just might be nervous, or my nerves. Like I feel that almost sciatic pain, but it doesn't go down my leg. It stays in the middle of my butt. And then I feel that up my back. So that's the
Hmm.
pain that I feel, or I feel it on the outside of my hip or the inside of my hip. And it's all like localized on my right side. I did carry my son and he very much set himself up in that right side. So I'm pretty sure he messed up a lot of nerves that are
It's
over on
your
that.
fault, kiddo. No,
I
just kidding.
mean, 9-pound baby, I guess I was destined to have some stuff going on in there.
Yeah.
But that's been the most interesting part for me of learning about the connection between the nervous system and the muscles. And it really is about trusting yourself in those positions because when you're injured, and I would love to hear your perspective on it, when I as an injured person, I overcompensate and I make it
Mhm.
worse. I'm not actually moving myself in ways that are gonna make things better. I'm moving in ways that actually have made my injury worse, like you're tensing up and you're not trusting yourself and you're not moving outside of this linear, like I need to step this way and then I need to turn this way and I need to only sit this way and I can't pick things up off the ground and all of those things. We really put ourselves in worse positions that actually increase our injury. Did you ever feel that for yourself too?
Sorry, my cat just howled at me really
Oh,
loudly. I'm sorry
hello.
if anyone can hear the cat.
It's
Hopefully he will be
okay.
quiet.
It's okay.
Sometimes he's
We love
extremely
guests.
annoyingly vocal, he can sound like a whining child.
We love extra guests. I'm sure my son will jump in here soon. I'm surprised I've been able to sit with you for 25 minutes and he hasn't come in and say hi yet.
Yeah. Anyway, I've been told by more than one person, like more than one coach, that for somebody who doesn't have an athletic background, I have an extremely high sense of like mind body connection.
Mm.
Um, so Matt has had to also talk me down sometimes. I'm like, but I didn't move in the exact perfect way. Something's wrong. He's like,
Yep.
no, sometimes you just need to move. You're
Mm-hmm.
fine.
Yep.
But I think for me, coming back from injury, like my SI joint injury, there was no singular moment. There was no pop. There was no like, oops. I did a bench press, or not bench press, deadlift and push up workout,
Mm-hmm.
and got to work like a couple hours later and couldn't even quarter squat. And I was like, what
Oh,
is happening
wow.
right now? And I'm like, I can squat like to the ground. Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Ass to
full
grass.
depth,
Hell yeah.
100%. And
Yep.
I'm like, what is happening? Um, so that was really weird, but like getting my body to go from that much restriction to like, okay, this range of motion is safe, and this range of motion is safe, and this range of motion is safe, took a long time. And my CNS, like the first time, I did not deadlift for almost a year, not from the ground. It had to be off blocks. He was like, you can
Mm-hmm.
do it from a certain elevation. Same thing with clean pulls, snatch pulls. My barbell was elevated for a long time. And the first time I stepped up to do an actual deadlift, like from the floor, it wasn't even that heavy. I think it was maybe like 85 or 100 pounds or something.
Mm-hmm.
My heart started pulsing, like my heart rate went up, and I was like, oh my God, I'm having like my palms are sweaty. What is
Yes.
happening? My body
Yep.
was just like, I don't know if this is safe. I don't know if this is safe. It was fine, but I had to like get past that. It was
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. It's very weird. It's very weird to think that. I mean, because for me, I was always searching for answers outside of myself and outside of my body and thinking that there was a magic fix out there. But when it comes to reality, it's my own body trusting myself again. Like I need to trust that I can move in these positions without feeling so scared every time. And that was me. I would be so scared to lift these weights and move this way and do this stuff and whatever. But then my ego, like you were kind of talking about, that ego is on the other side. It's almost like the angel and the devil. It's like I'm terrified, but I'm going to push through it because I need to, because I'm strong enough and I don't want this injury to stop me from doing all of these things. Then I put myself in positions again that I'm lifting stuff that I shouldn't be lifting and my form is all out of whack. And then I can't do basic stuff. Like I said, like I can't bend down and tie my shoes. I have to sit down on a couch. I have to wrench my knee up as high as I can, try to hold it there as I'm tying my shoe because I can't bend at the hip to go down to the floor and tie my shoe. So it's like, when do you challenge that ego of having to slow down and work through it correctly versus just throwing yourself into it and hurting yourself more? And Matt's had to do that with me too, because I'm very flexible. I have the flexibility, but I do
Yeah.
not have the strength to support the flexibility. So I'll be like, hey, I can get into that position. And he's like, so what? So what?
Yes,
That's
and
right. So fucking what? That's not what we're doing right now. So there's so many things that I've had to shorten my range of motion, but then I feel like I'm not doing anything. So how do you navigate those situations where it's like, fuck, I know I can do all of this stuff, but then having somebody like Matt that just reins you in and is like, slow down, girl, we'll get there.
yeah, it's having coaches around like Matt, or my coaches at my gym are very good too. They're all very trusting and knowledgeable, and they know what's going on. Um, but just I think you have to learn how to deal with your own ego, and you also have to learn, at least for your body, like what different pains or discomforts feel like. Like
Mhm.
I know when there's a certain pain, I'm like, okay, we're not going past that one. But
Mhm.
there's also other discomforts that I'm like, that'll probably go away as I warm up, and it usually does.
Yeah.
So just learning yourself that way too. I mean, pain just being kind of a construct of your mind doesn't even mean something's necessarily wrong. It's just your body's giving you information that you need to decode and figure out, why is it telling me that? What is the cause? Where is it coming from?
Mhm.
Because a lot of people don't don't also know, like, sometimes your hip might be hurting, but it might actually be stemming from your ankle. So
Yes.
it's just
Yes.
trying to figure out what is actually the root problem and then
Mhm.
addressing that.
Yeah, because so many times you hear, "Well, my back hurts." And I'm like, "Okay, but everything is connected." And it's funny for me as a coach because some of the things I'm like, "Yeah, I know this," but then hearing it from another coach that puts me in my place, I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know I don't know shit." So I love being challenged, because I signed up for Primal more from a coach's perspective. I was like, if I can learn what this program is, because it's not just stretching for flexibility, because that is the
Nope.
mobility training that I learned as a coach, not saying I'm stretching like we're warming up for an hour when it comes to mobility, but stretching and moving through not just isolation stretch, but active stretches. And you're moving stuff and you're doing all these things. Like that's how we increase mobility. So I was very interested from a coach's perspective of like, oh shit, this is something different. This could really help my clients. Again, trusting Rolo and stuff like that. Not thinking about it for myself until I got into it and I was like, "No, I have to go through it myself so that I can teach them," not thinking until about 7 days later, "Oh shit, this could actually help me. This could actually change my life, not just my client's life." You know what I mean? And so when I signed up for Primal and I got the instant message from Matt, the head coach, the founder, the CEO of Primal. He reached out almost instantly. And I was very surprised at the type of coach and at the type of availability that the app has, that he has, that the other members have, that the other coaches have. I was very surprised that that is the community that he has built. And that's the availability that he's had. When you first signed up, were you surprised too how good and available of a coach that he is? Because normally for a price that they charge for Primal, you're not going to get that kind of attention. That's usually like a one-on-one kind of pricey kind of attention.
Yeah, that definitely surprised me. I mean, I was using some of the other popular mobility apps at the time. We're not going to name names because it's not what it's about.
Right.
But comparing the two, I mean, there were some things, some moves that we would do that were similar, and then some that are very specific to Primal that are new to me, or some I may have experienced in PT, whatever. But just the coaching aspect, it's not just some person in a video that's silent showing you what to do. Like, there's text, there's directions. He goes in detail in his videos, and then the fact that I could message him at any point, either on Instagram or on the app, and
Yep.
ask questions, and I get pretty quick feedback within, I mean,
Yep.
I would say ridiculously fast feedback for the amount of work that I'm sure this man is doing.
Yeah.
um, Blew me away, and I was just like, man, okay, this is very, very different. And I love learning and I love asking questions. So that immediately was a huge buy-in for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Me too. I was completely shocked at the type of support. Matt, we got to teach the body that pain doesn't always equal danger. Got to change the internal narrative around pain. Yeah. That was a big one for me too.
Hmm.
Of because when we hear pain or we feel pain, what do? We're told to stop. I have experiences
Rest,
myself.
ice,
Ice,
no.
elevate, just never do anything, just stay away from it. I've experienced that in my own conversations with doctors and PT and stuff like that. They're like, "Okay, your back hurts. Well, you can't do anything." And for
Watch
me,
me.
right. For me, not doing any sort of fitness, especially doing CrossFit when I found it, was never in the cards for me. I was never
Yeah.
not going to go to CrossFit because of my injury. Did you ever have a time in your journey where you thought you might have to step away from CrossFit because you were just in too much pain and you, excuse me, didn't see that there was any sort of solution or that your pain was ever going to go away?
I never considered stepping away from CrossFit because I'm too stubborn. I'm like, sorry, I don't care what I'm dealing with. I'm going and we will find something that I can do. I was
Mhm.
like, great, my hip's hurting. Here we go. Let's work on our pull ups. Like, there's something you can do.
Yep.
It was more just like, I don't think I had at that time enough knowledge for me to learn how to adapt or scale or modify to actually do something that was productive, still giving me a stimulus for the workout and not aggravating the issue that was occurring. While that
Mhm.
calmed down, I needed to find an, as Matt calls it, an entry point.
Yep.
So I may not have done a full deadlift for almost a year, but we lifted the barbell. It was pulled basically from the knee up. I'm like, I can still deadlift. It's just a shorter range of motion.
Right.
Or sometimes my coaches are like, they're going really heavy today. I just want you to, do this banded drill. You're not pulling a barbell today. I'm like, okay, like we find things to do. I'm dealing with a shoulder issue right now. There's like snatching I can do, strict overhead press I can do. It's just I can't straight bar bench and I can't do push-ups with a non-neutral grip right now. But I can do pretty much everything else.
Yep.
You better believe I'm still going in and crushing the gym with, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Within
Intensity.
reason.
Yeah.
Within reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and it's learning to like, where can I push the intensity? Because that was something I missed when I was dealing with my SI joint. I'm like, I never thought I'd miss burpees because I had to burpee with like my hands elevated for the longest time. And the first time I did an actual like regular burpees and my low back didn't hurt, I was like,
Did
yeah.
you get a little teary-eyed? You just kind of like, I don't think I will ever say that I miss burpees no matter what. I mean, I really play up that with my coaches, not so much anymore, but before I started getting into primal, I would start telling my coaches, "Oh, my back is really bothering to me on burpee day." And so I would I would do the elevated burpees, or I would just do like work on push-ups or something like that. They wouldn't make me get up and down from that position because the hinging would just really mess up my back. And so I would lean into that injury a lot when it came to burpees because being 5'11", getting down for a
It's a long
burpee
way
and
down.
getting all the way back up for a burpee and back down again for a burpee is not still to this day like anything that I want to do. Um, it's really cool to hear that you have all of your coaches working together. You don't have any single coach that's like, well, we're just going to do it my way because I'm your coach and I know more. And it seems like a very good collaboration between your coaches at the CrossFit gym as well as Matt. And that is something that I have realized being an athlete again. Like when you become a coach, you really get the blinders on of helping other people. And I've never been that one that walks in and says, I know more than my coach. But now being able to be coached again, both at my CrossFit gym, because I'm back into CrossFit, because I actually took a step back from CrossFit because my injury was so bad. And I was just doing boxing and stuff like that, just staying moving, but still really dealing with pain and I thought that I was never going to be able to get back to CrossFit because I was in so much pain and nothing was going to work. But, thankful for this podcast and connecting with people back in the CrossFit space and meeting Taylor Self. I don't know if you know Sentinel Training, but I started to do a little bit of Sentinel Training, which is very much like Primal. It's a very low financial ticket to be in the program, but they give so much. And you don't see too many coaches that are like that. So being able to be coached by coaches that are like, hey, we're going to get you there, but we got to keep you like your eyes have to be open and you have to realize that it's going to take a process. It's not going to be linear. It's just not.
Yeah.
And for you,
Nope.
it sounds like it's very important to be able to have those open conversations as an athlete to a coach where it's like, hey, this feels really good. I feel like I can do more, but also being challenged by your coach and saying, that's great, but that's not what we're working on right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. We have pretty great coaches. One of my coaches was actually one of Matt's earliest clients before the ERP. So
Oh,
that's kind of a
shit.
weird little connection that I discovered in the last few months as well.
Yeah.
But that's also how they manage their coaches there. My gym definitely puts a high priority on like excellent coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to the owners for setting that up. But they already have set scales for different things, but as long as I go in and say, hey, this is what's bothering me today, they almost always come up with something that will at least hit the stimulus that doesn't cause pain. Or like today we did bench press, build up to a heavy set of 5. I just used dumbbells.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like, I can do the neutral grip, that's fine. So just making it work. But yeah.
Well, dealing with a new injury, because now you're dealing with a shoulder injury. Does it build you, does it help keep your confidence up that there is hope to the other side because you've been doing primal for so long and you've seen the success that you've had with your other injuries? And so it's like, yeah, it really sucks that I'm dealing with a new injury, but you have all that information, you have that access to primal's programming. So does it take away the um questioning and like you do actually have answers and that you're gonna be okay?
I have my moments
Mm.
where I wanna just curl up into a ball and be like, "I'm never gonna do push-ups again, no."
Mhm,
But that's not
mhm,
true. I just did for the first time, like, my shoulder injury kinda happened in April, so it's been about half a year since we've been working on it.
mhm.
But and I just did elevated push-ups, like, yesterday to a bench with no pain.
That's
So,
good.
we're getting there.
Yeah.
It's just for me, it's just a push-pull. There's moments where I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be fine. I gotta trust the process. Boop, 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 boop." And then there's days
Yep.
where I'm like, "Everything's ruined." So,
Nothing works,
it
nothing
depends on my
works.
mood and how tired I am and how stressed I've been, and
Yeah.
but but yeah, it
Yeah.
is good to have Matt at least in my toolbox, because when I have a question about something, I'm like, I can do this, but not that, or what would you suggest? Or I know I'm working with my PT on these things, but is there something with primal that might actually help on the side? And he's very quick to give feedback where he feels it's appropriate, at least in that regard.
Yeah,
He's not, he's not my personal PT, but he has a lot of knowledge.
and he's also a really good fucking coach. Like you said, he is available to answer questions whenever you have them. It doesn't matter if it's this injury or that injury or where we should start. It was funny when I first started, Rolo was like, "Well, you have to do this program and this program and this program, and it's all in primal and it's great." And he's got all these other things and specialize in whatever. And Matt was like, "You're gonna do primal and you're gonna do the primal daily, and that's great. And we'll start there." And because you do get excited, and other people that have had such success with primal are even like, you got to do this and you got to do this because this works and this helps. And we're junkies and we want to talk about it all the time because we've seen such success. And the other thing too that I really like about it is that it builds your mindset and your mentality around it because he's not allowing you to shy away from your injury. He's not
Hmm.
he might have to reel you in a little bit and be like, "Okay, well, we need to decrease this range of motion and we need to do this." But he's not saying stay away from it. He's saying be aware of it and let's lean into it appropriately, obviously.
Yeah.
So all of those times that there's movements that I'm like, "Hey, this is going to be really difficult on my back or really difficult on my hip." He's like, "Okay, so just decrease the range of motion." We need to trust that it's not your range of motion for me specifically, and it sounds like for you too. It's not I need to get farther, I need to get more flexible. It's I need to get
More control.
stronger and control and comfortable and confident and trust myself in each one of those movements versus just saying I can get into this position or I have to get into this position or I have to shy away from it completely. So when you first started doing primal and realized that he really has you keep awareness on it and he's not shying away from your injury, was that a different kind of shift for you or did you already have that knowledge because you worked with your PT so much?
Um, Yeah, I think I had kind of brought that with me into primal, having worked with my PT, who not once said, "You're not going to the gym." It was, "There's these things that you're not going to do until I tell you to.
Mhm.
Otherwise, what'd you do today? How'd it go? What kind of aches and pains are you dealing with?" So I brought that with me into primal.
Mhm.
I I think my entry into primal was more of, okay, I've learned all this from my PT, but now how do I do this on my own per
Yeah.
se? Like
Yeah.
maintaining on my own. Like this is a tool that I can use to drive the adaptations that I'm looking for so that I'm not just ending up back in the same position that I was in before I got hurt.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'd say the other thing that Coach Matt and Becca and even Steve have
Mhm.
really blown my mind with is not only can you say, "Hey, this hurts. I have this question. Can you teach me about this?" Or if I have a really nerdy question, I think I asked him something about my wrist one day. I was like, "Why does stretching the back of my wrist make this feel better?" And he's like, "Oh, well, here," and gave me this diagram. I was like, "Please geek out. I want to know."
Yeah.
Um, is they also celebrate the wins too. So sometimes I'll say, "Hey, I did this and it didn't hurt," and he's like, "Yes!" Or like
Mm-hmm.
he follows my stories, and sometimes he'll comment and say, "I can see it on your face." Like the first day I did a front rack barbell lunge without hip pain. I said it to him. He's like, "Your smile was everything." Like, yeah. So,
It means a lot. It really means a lot. I did a workout last week and the strength was a heavy front squat and I got up to 140 pounds. And I had a workout that was 5 rounds of 20 wall balls. And now, mind you, I did 10 pounds. I didn't do the 14 and everything like that. But for the first time, I feel the soreness in my glutes where I'm supposed to. And I did
yes.
not feel the squat in my back, the heavy squat in my back. And I only used the belt on my last one that I did 140. I did 150, but I didn't get below parallel. So I didn't give myself credit for that. I was proud of that, but I was like, I wanted to hit like actual numbers to build up this in this strength cycle that I'm doing. Um,
Mhm.
but I didn't use a belt for most of my lifting and I didn't use a belt for the wall balls and I did not feel any pain in my back when I did wall balls. Ask me 3 months ago, I would have had to pick up a wall ball. I would have had to do a slow tempo squat and then I would catch the ball and I would do a slow one and probably 4 reps in I could start to move because my back would loosen up for a second. And I
Yeah,
did
because
those
you're building heat.
exactly. Exactly. The body's like, "Okay, we're good. We're warm. Let's go." And I didn't feel any pain. And I put that in my story and Matt was one of the first people that was like, "Fuck yeah." That's amazing. Amazing because again, you don't ever think that you're going to get there. I just don't.
Yeah.
I never thought that I would get to a point where I would be able to move correctly, safely, and have no pain. And I also did, it's Monday. We're on our second week of this cycle, this squat cycle, and I did 7 reps at 100 pounds of a front squat with no pain in my back.
Yes. That's what
No
we're
pain in
talking
my,
about.
you know what I mean? No pain in my back. I can feel it in my hip. I'm starting to feel it more in my hips than anything. Um, but I don't feel it in my back. And it's really fucking cool to not feel it in my back and also see myself growing because I don't throw a bunch of weight on just because. I'm like,
Right.
what's the most important? Let's be realistic here. We did overhead squats afterwards. And I was like, it doesn't make sense for me to put a bunch of fucking weight over my head if it's gonna mess up my back and it's gonna mess up my hips.
Right.
So we're growing, which is nice.
Sometimes, sometimes training the ego is worse than training the body,
Mhm, mhm.
but yeah.
Becca also has fantastic range of motion. So with her, we've been very focused on changing her perspective around perfect movement to be open to occasional compensations and not to see them as an inherent flaw. Speaking to the choir. He is preaching to the choir right now because that's it for me too. It's hard.
It
It's
is,
hard.
especially when you want all your lifts to be, beautiful.
Right.
So,
Right. You want them to
like,
be a
that
certain
matters to me.
yes.
Some of the most meaningful compliments I get is when somebody, like, who's never seen me lift before is like, "Your clean is beautiful." I'm like, "Oh, that's the best thing you could have said to me." So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
totally get it.
Those compliments are so good, but I also think from, an injury perspective is that it has to be a perfect lift. Like it has to be a perfect lift so we don't do any more damage to ourselves. So
Yes,
those
it comes from a place
yes.
of fear.
Yes. Yeah. So it's great when someone says, "Oh, wow, your range of motion is this or this looks great or your, clean looks fantastic." And that's what we want to hear, but everything is coming from fear. Every single movement, every single insecurity is coming from fear. And there's a way to move through that without putting yourself in a worse position than you started with. And I'm learning
Yeah.
that with Matt, with Primal, with even the members of the community. So I would love from your perspective to just talk about how amazing the Primal community is and the conversations that you've had with people that you've met through Primal.
Yeah, so people post in the app almost every day, which is really great. Um, I think some people might be nervous about like videoing themselves and putting it out in a public space, but I don't know. I just came in guns blazing. I'm like, whatever. I need to learn. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. And
I'm
they just felt
here.
defeated with me, and I'm like, whatever. I don't care. I'm getting feedback.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the community is really great. Being able to chit chat with the people and share like similar jokes with each other, or hey, how did you feel doing this today? And just laughing about the intensity of some of the things that we do, and like the pain faces that we make because we're like squeezing a muscle so really hard.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, um, just connecting with Matt and Becca and Steve on socials has been entertaining as well.
We become fast friends. That's what
Yeah,
I
it
feel
feels like a
like.
little primal fam.
Yeah. I mean, it feels very much like walking into CrossFit and finding your people, you know?
Yes, yes, very much.
Yeah. And I feel like Matt has created that in Primal where you walk in and you're important and he doesn't give a
Yes.
shit where you are on your journey. He's just happy that you're there, but he also knows that he doesn't have the magic pill. He knows that he is there to support us. Like we have to do
Mhm.
the work. We have to be committed
Yes.
to doing the work. So I get the fear of posting videos and sharing stuff. And that's really where I mean, obviously I met Matt once joining Primal, but that's really where him and I's friendship, really started to grow. And then also the collaboration that we're doing here. Was me just sharing my videos on social media. And then I would get a couple people that are like, "Hey, I've seen your stories enough and I think I'm going to try it." And so that's like the biggest compliment that I can get because I'm just figuring this out too. I'm just
Mhm.
trying this too. I'm just leaning into the process too. And so we don't realize how much impact we're really having, not only on ourselves, but for other people. 9 times out of 10, people join something because they see somebody doing something else even if they don't know who they are, you
Yeah.
know? Even if
I
they
mean,
don't know who they are.
I was spying on Matt's page, Primal page, for a while.
Mhm.
Um, I initially didn't join because it was I think I first really started looking at his website before they launched the ERP, and it was more like one-on-one coaching, and I
Mhm.
just assumed in my head, "Oh, one-on-one, that's probably, like, super expensive," and then when I saw people like Mean for Time were doing it and posting about it in their stories, I was like, "Oh,
Yep.
probably it's really expensive if, like, the big people are doing it.
I
What's
know,
going
right?
on for me?" I
You're
was like, "Just
right.
this random person from
Yep.
Central PA,
I'm just
like,
gonna
pew,
stalk
pew."
his, Instagram and find a couple things and just try them as I see them on Instagram, right?
I mean, that's where it started. Like, I tried a
Right.
few things. I was like, okay, this reminds me of some programming that I had done in the past and I knew was effective. There's very similar moves. But yeah, and then one day I went on the website and like end range program. I'm like, that wasn't there before.
Like, what is this new
What is
fancy
this?
thing? Yep.
So
Yep.
I looked into it and decided to give it a try. And yeah, there's a lot of moves that I've done before that I know work. It's just what I really like about Primal is that I don't have to program for myself, and it's not like a set program that you once you finish it, you either do it again or you find something else. You know what I mean? Like it's not a once and done thing. It feels very much like CrossFit in that respect too. I go in, there's a plan, there's a stimulus, somebody's programming that's smarter than me. I just go
Yeah.
in, I do the work, and I watch the magic
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, and you learn those first couple things, or first couple moves that you feel the biggest impact. So I was having I think it was my second week and a half or whatever, that I was having a very painful day. Like my body was in a lot of pain. And normally I would sit on a heating pad for the rest of my day and not be able to do anything with my family and whatever. So I was like, well, if I'm going to lean into this process and I'm going to trust this process, I've got 3 moves that I can remember. It was the flow, it was the breathing split, and I think it was the tactical frog. And I was like,
Mhm.
well, these are the 3 that I remember. Let's try them and see if they help. So I would barely get myself on the floor and pain through that. And I got on the floor and I did them very slow, very controlled, just a couple reps on each side. And I was able to move. And I
Yeah.
sent him a text and I said, I think it might actually fucking work. I think this might actually fucking work.
Give me
And
more of the Kool-Aid, sprinkle your
yes,
pixie dust.
I mean, for real. And I got a little emotional because I was like, this might be the thing that I thought was never going to be there. And it is. And so
Yep.
now on those days where whatever primal is, if it's not very hip focused and whatever, and I feel very sore or a lot of pain in my hips or my back, I will go down to those couple movements. And again, I'm not going crazy. I'm not, doing 1,000 reps. I'm just doing a couple movements into those joints and thinking about the intention, like you said, of what the movement is and remembering what he said and just doing those little movements. Sometimes I'm able to move way more and I'm able to feel so much better. And what he's doing is the coolest thing and has been a huge impact on me. And it sounds like for you too. And I'm like you guys, like, I'm like, everybody needs to do primal because it's the only thing that works. And if you can hear it from me, who's been dealing with pain for 10 plus years, and I see hope in this, like every fucking buddy needs to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of my gym mates, she's joined a couple months ago because she's dealing with an injury as well. And I can't say for sure that I was an influencer on that, but I had talked to her about it. Like I talked to everybody about it. I'm like,
Peer pressure.
I really love
You
this
definitely peer pressured her into it.
And now she's part of it too. And now I can text you and be like, did you do this move today? Because the hip hurdles, as Steve said, bonding over the spice of hip hurdles and Jefferson curls, those prone hip hurdles, I think everybody wanted to cry when they were programmed, or at least you couldn't see my face because I was muttering curses under my breath every time I had to do those.
Yes. I look forward to the day of being able to bond over a Jefferson curl. I'm not there yet. I think that's going to take a lot more time. I joke with Matt all the time when he does those funky ass moves on his Instagram. There was one that he did. It was a Jefferson curl and he had, I don't know, 85 pounds, 95 pounds or whatever. And he just bent over to the middle and then bent over to the side and I DM'd him. I was like, coach, this is never going to happen in my future. Never. I said, I'm going to snap my back. I'm going to be paralyzed. This is never going to happen. And he was like, don't you ever talk like that again. Not now, maybe down the line in your future, but not right now. Yeah, because I see these things, and I think Steve was doing he was doing some sort of lunge the other day. I think
he had Zercher rack.
Yes.
Split squats.
Yes, with a ton of weight on. I was like, what are we doing? I'm just doing it body weight, and it's so difficult. And it's really cool to see them all do that stuff where it's like that's eventually down the line, but you see the progress of what it could be like. Again, not saying that I have to do, I think Matt said he did a 185, I don't know, Jefferson curl or something.
Coach Matt is going for a 1RM Jefferson.
Right.
Maxing out my Jeffy today.
I know. I'm like not there. I did the Jefferson curl workout and the elephant walk workout. And that's the one where my nervous system, my legs and hips were for days, girl, for days.
Dude, I did the elephant walks with load when he programmed them. And I was
Me
like,
too.
these were amazing.
Me too.
Every day. And he was like, no, you cannot.
I did them. I had 12-pound dumbbells here at home. And I was like, well, fuck it. I've got dumbbells. I'll just use them. And I did them. And I was like, these are tough because being in that hinge position, right, is very difficult for me on my back. So I took it very slow and I just moved my legs and they felt good, and then the next day I was like, what did I do?
What did you do to me?
What happened? And he just started laughing. He was like, it's cool. You'll be fine. But I was like, what did I do? Because it was the Jefferson curls. And then it was the hinge where you just, you just hold onto a wall or you elevate your toes a little bit and you just hinge forward. And I was like, oh, I can do that.
Like the tib raises?
Yes, something like that. Yeah.
I messaged him yesterday about those saying, I've never experienced my shin hit failure before.
I was like, what is happening here? And of course he starts laughing and very supportive and everything like that. And I was like, I'm messed up for days. For 3 days, I was unable to move. It was so bad. You would have thought I deadlifted, 700 pounds. That's how messed up my hamstrings were.
Yeah, I haven't experienced that quite yet, but, like, early
Oh
on,
god, it was
the
awful.
low-key hip fatigue that was in there, I'm like, "Man, like, what did I do at CrossFit?" That I'm like, "I
It was
think it's
primal.
primal."
It was prime. It's all Matt. It's all Matt. So now when you have like a hip flare up, it's like it's Matt's fault. It's all Matt's fault.
Yeah.
Colleen's Big Jug. They make so whoever this is, I always have a huge water bottle. So they made a what's your biggest takeaway from Primal so far?
Biggest takeaway, um, probably Coach Matt preaching how intentional you need to be with everything and not just going through the motions. Like, you can certainly do, I don't know, let's just take front rack PNFs, for example, with the PVC. Yeah, you can sit there and stretch it, but you're not going to really drive adaptation unless you're, like, putting your entire soul into it in some of these moves.
Mhm.
Um, and that just carrying over, like, intentionality into everything, just with my training makes a big difference. And consistency. Like, some again, people want results instantly, and sometimes it's like that comparison to the thermostat in the room. Like, you might be raising the temperature slowly, 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 but the ice cube's only going to melt when it hits a certain temperature. And it takes time to
Mm.
get there, and you don't notice the changes that are happening until you're like, oh, look at that.
Mhm.
So, intentionality and consistency will win every time.
Every time. Every time. All right, guys, we're gonna hang out for about 2 more minutes. So if you have any other questions, put them in the chat. I did as I did a searcher warm up this morning. Joseph, have you joined Primal yet? If you haven't, use
If it's the
code.
same one, if it's the same name I've seen, I've definitely commented on his posts in the app.
Okay. If you haven't joined it yet, use GTP27 and get that discount. But yeah, guys, we got a couple more minutes. We'll hang out. Yeah, this is a journey I just never thought that I would be at. And I'm just super excited to be here. Sabir and Kelly, hearing this after just getting a bicep pull while bench pressing. Listen, join Primal. Matt will save your life.
Well, I
We
can
will.
say my coach, who was one of his clients, she said he saved her from surgery. So, I mean, that's big
Really?
talk, but, like,
Yeah.
he got her to a point where she didn't need to go that direction because there was another way. So, not saying that's everybody's story, but
I think that that's
just
a bigger story and that's a bigger statement because we do and we say this, you and I have said it most of this podcast and I said it with Matt and so many people is that we want immediate instant results. And I was seeing Primal and deciding to join Primal. I was this close to going and getting some sort of injections. I was this close to
mm,
going not necessarily wanting to go full surgery, but like going to get the MRI, going to get all of the doctor's informations because I was like, I cannot live my life like this. Like, I can't. I cannot be in pain like this. I cannot live a life where I can't run around with my kid. Like, I want to
right,
be able, one of the stories that I shared with Matt is that I can't jump on a trampoline with my kid because that impact from the trampoline goes instantly to my back. I'm able to, jump on maybe twice with him and then I have to step off because if not, I'm not going to be able to walk out of the trampoline place. It's just not possible. And I don't want to live a life like that. And so
right,
when you feel like that there's nothing left, you do take those huge risks by going and trying and injections and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that some of them don't work. Like some people in extreme case, like I'm not judging anybody that does what they need to do, but I've had clients that have chosen to go that route and have had huge um not consequences. That's not the, but like, oh my God, what's that word?
repercussions,
Repercussions, side effects. Thank you. I
side
was like,
effects.
the side effects from it, where it made it worse.
Yeah,
Like it made their injury or made their pain worse because they've chosen to go that extreme route. And again, I'm not bashing doctors and I'm not bashing what people have to do, but I was this close to where I was going to start taking that route or that road to go feel better. And so I'm just extremely grateful for Rolo. I'm extremely grateful for Matt and Primal and everything that he's done and meeting all of you guys. And yeah, Meg, Primal is my last hope. I got Meg to join because she's dealing with a lot of that shit too. So
It
she's
was my
joined.
last hope too. I was like, if this doesn't work, nothing will.
Yeah. And I feel like that a lot of people that I've spoken to and I've met through the primal space, that's very much how we all felt. Like it was it was our last hope. And
Help me,
I'm
Obi-Wan
glad.
Kenobi.
Yeah.
You're my only hope.
Joseph, she's just old. Wow, Joseph. Joseph. Well,
I
we were
mean, we
picking.
didn't really get into that, but like, I'm turning 39 this year, so part of it is also aging up as an athlete, and aging well includes
Yeah.
taking care of your joints, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what Primal does, is keeps your end ranges strong and keeps everything where it should be going. So,
Yeah.
it's
We
definitely the best supplement for my CrossFit training.
100%. All right, guys. On that note, mic drop. We'll leave it at that. If you have not joined Primal yet, the QR code is working now. We realized it wasn't working, but it should be working. If it's not, let me know. Primal Mobility, use code GTP27 to get that discount, and you will not regret it. You will absolutely not
Mm-hmm.
regret it. So I will be back on tomorrow to talk more Primal. So come hang out with me tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. I will talk to Steve from Primal, and he's going to tell us all the things that he loves. He's going to,
Searchers.
yes, yes. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Stay warm out there. Stay safe out there. Stay dry out there if you're dealing with this rain. And I will see you guys tomorrow. See you later. Bye.